This episode was fire, dude. I don't even know what else to say. Vinland Saga is single-handedly carrying all of anime right now. Is that really true? Should I be watching more anime? Probably. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I got Vinland Saga. I'm good. I'm good to go. Incredible episode. I know there's probably one thing in this episode that is going to make some people upset, but I don't really think that we should be, and I'll explain that here in a second. But if you're following along in the manga, this covers chapters 92 and 93 pretty much, and then they skip ahead a little bit, but I'll get to that in a second, which is kind of going the same route as I was suspecting from the last review, where if you go through the volumes, like if you have book 7 of the manga collection, there is like 2 episodes, or 2 chapters, which would be per episode to the end of the season. So if there's 4 episodes left, I think, and then there would be 8 episodes or 8 chapters. I can't even speak. I'm sorry. 8 chapters left of this, and 4 episodes left of the season 2 of the anime. So that's probably around the route that they're going to go. Now, they did release a trailer over the weekend. There was like a Studio Mappa event thing that happened, and they showed a little bit of kind of what would be in season 3, which is probably going to be around where season 2 ends. It's probably going to end on that moment. So that scene in the trailer is probably going to be like the final scene. I didn't actually even really watch the trailer. I just saw a bunch of stills and images from it because I'm good. Like, I want to experience this as we go through the episodes. But it was really cool to see. Also gets me excited about a season 3 because there's a lot of great shit coming up that I would be really, really excited to see in animation. But here we are. Let's talk about this episode in particular. Narratively, this episode was pretty much split in half. In the beginning half, we have the war between Canute, and in the second half, we have the passing of Arneed. So we kind of have to talk about those two things separately, and I'm glad they didn't try to intercut. It's not intercut in the manga either, but that would totally ruin the flow of both things, and both are kind of like on completely different ends of the spectrum, and both are what Vinland Saga, the anime, does really, really great, which is great action sequences and also really heavy emotional moments that kind of like really pull on the heartstrings and hit you to the core, which it definitely did. And there's been a lot of that this season, which is one of the reasons why I like it. It's very emotional, you know, it's very character driven, which is stuff that I really like. The war aspect, of course, going into the last episode, we knew there's no chance in hell that Ketil's men, a bunch of farmers with like axes, could actually do anything against the Jomsvikings that Canute is sending out against them. The only hope they had whatsoever is with Snake and his men, but even he was telling them, like, look, there's no way that we're going to win. I'm doing this for the master, but look, like, you guys can go if you want to. Like, even Snake knew that we're not going to win this. We just have to fight long enough until Ketil says, hey, retreat. And he doesn't even do that because he's just so proud. So I'm talking about Ketil. He's just so proud and so full of himself and just believes that, you know, he can handle this situation. And he's just acting purely out of rage, out of insecurity, out of being beaten, out of everything that's happened. And he is sending all of these men to their inevitable death. There's no chance in hell that any of them, I mean, maybe they could get lucky and like 4 of them could surround one Jomsviking and like get in a lucky stab that would have him bleed out. Maybe they would kill like 1, but like in general, you're sending lambs to the slaughter, and Snake knows this, but Ketil, even though deep down he knows that as well, just is ignoring it with this like, no, I am the commander, I am the lead. He has this like, superiority complex in this moment. It was like, this is what we're doing, don't take things away from me, like this is because everything's been taken away. And so he's fighting against it as harshly as he possibly can, even though he's sacrificing all of these people. And even though a lot of them aren't slaves, it's still like people that he's forcing to put into this situation, you know? Snake, on the other hand, is fully capable of handling himself, but there's still like way too many people for just one person to fight. And what I really like about this episode and Vinland Saga in general is it always has shown, even though because it's anime, you know, a lot of things are exaggerated and the fight scenes are really cool and fun and well choreographed to look at, it never does that so much that it gets away from its main focus of showing the realities of violence, because that is a lot of the themes, a lot of the core themes of what Vinland Saga has always been about, is showing the reality and the brutality of, you know, this dark indulgence of mankind and what it can actually look like. So I like that during the war sequences, we're seeing the character Fox, and he's like getting so scared, like he can't move his legs, because you imagine this scenario of going to war and like being this great warrior and having this honor and everything that it could possibly mean. But when you're actually face to face with like a sword cutting your arm off, you just sort of realize like, holy fuck, this is stupid. Like, this is terrifying. Like, this is horrendous. And it shows like the true horror of what's happening here. It shows the character that gets his arms chopped, both arms chopped off. What is he supposed to do? Another character with his like eyes ripped out, and the other character, Badger, gets his arm chopped off, and he's still going, man. I gotta respect him for that. He's still going, but it's just hopeless, and you can tell like the Yoms Viking is kind of playing with him, blocking him with a shield and stuff until Snake comes in and saves him. But I love those moments because it really does show you that war is not this glamorous thing. It's fun for us to watch as the audience, but for the characters in it, it's terrifying. And I love that it's shown as terrifying. On the other side of that, we have Thorgil with his sneak attack against Canute. And I love this moment also because Thorgil, pretty smart dude. Like, he's not just like a muscle-bound idiot. Like, he's an asshole. Like, he's a piece of shit, but he's not stupid. And I love how he gets the sneak attack against Canute, and Canute, you know, at the last second, like, sees him, and he's able to pull his sword out, showing that, hey, his lessons are actually paying off, because earlier in the season, you know, earlier in the arc, we saw him practicing his sword fighting against, why can't I remember his name? Against Wolf. Yeah, Wolf, the guy that squints. Not the coin guy. Whatever happened to him? They should have brought him. They would have won in, like, 2 seconds. So Wolf was training him, right? And so, you know, when we saw him train, he wasn't really that great, but he still learned enough to be able to like pull his sword out as quick as he could to block it at the last second. And I love also how it shows the power difference between Canute and Thorgil, where he does manage to get the sword out in time to block, but it not only does it crack the sword, he feels like he sprained his wrist. Like, imagine a man that huge and that strong swinging a sword as hard as he could, and you block it, but you just feel that pain, that resistance, like almost like snaps your wrist. Like, it's so, like, the impact is just so powerful. And Canute does his best, man. He tries to run and get the other sword. He gets hit in the stomach. And then Wolf comes, finally, to kind of get his back. You know, Thorgil chose the right moment. He waited till Wolf walked away. And I love this, too. It's just crazy. Because, first of all, he doesn't just throw a knife. He throws a whole goddamn sword into Thorgil's wrist. So there's that. That would probably just actually make him bleed out to death, but we'll just ignore that. And then he tackles him. And imagine putting 2 fingers in your body. Wait, pause. Imagine putting 2 fingers in your eyeball and then using those fingers to pull you to the side. Insane. And I can't imagine the level of pain. You ever have like a rock in your eye or something gets in your eye, or I wear contacts, right? And if the contact gets dirty, there's like a hair in it and you put it in your eye and it just stings so bad. That's like just a little, like, that's like a piece of hair in your eye. Imagine having 2 fucking fingers in your eye. Insane. Anyways, that all happens, and Thorgil makes a run for it, because at that point they noticed him, and there's like a bunch of Vikings running towards him. He's just like, oh shit. And he gets out of there. Canute, I gotta hand it to him. He did well. There's no way he would have won, but you know what? He put up enough of a fight to let Wolf get to the situation. You know, he spared that extra couple of seconds because of his training. So I gotta give it to him. Second half of the episode, obviously, is much different and focuses on the passing of Arneed. Now, this was inevitable. I tried not to spoil this in the last couple of reviews, but I feel like it was pretty obvious that it was going to happen, but I never outright said it. But here, obviously, is the passing of Arneed. And the idea in the story, I think, is to show these lovers, Arneed and Garter, and just how their life was absolutely demolished and destroyed by this whole act of slavery and everything that happened here between them. Is that, you know, they really, truly, honestly did not deserve the fate that happened to them. And so in her final moments, you know, they tried the best to keep her alive, and I think the best moment, best, I don't mean best as in like, this is great, I mean like, just for a storytelling perspective, when she passes, Thorfinn tells her about Vinland, which is the same story his father used to tell. And if you remember going all the way back to the first episode of the anime, that's what Thors tells the dying slave. Remember, there was like a slave that was starving that stumbled upon them, and he bought the slave. He sold off some sheep for him. and it was a dying, you know, he wasn't going to make it through the night, and then to help him pass, Thors would tell him the story of Vinland. And Thorfinn, even though he was only like 6 years old at the time, always remembered that and brought it back and was able to tell that to Arnid in this moment. And I like that callback. I like how it comes back to that, and it sets up for what's to come in the series. Now, I think the biggest thing that people are not going to like about this episode is there is a major, major important scene that is skipped over. But it's going to be in here because that scene was in the trailers for the anime. They didn't get rid of it. They're just changing the placement of it. Now, I don't want to spoil it for anime onlys that watch these reviews, but after Arnid passes, there is a very important scene with Thorfinn and Einar that's just not here. They just kind of skip over it, and they lead to Thorfinn telling Leif that he is going to go try to talk to Canute, which is like such a ballsy move, you know, considering the situation that they're in. Yeah, I'm just going to go talk to him. Sure, buddy. I love it. Thorfinn's a badass, man. He's still a badass, all right, in my heart, always. So, I think this scene is going to be, you know, toward at the, if not the last episode, the second to last episode. It's still going to be here. It just wasn't here in this episode. I don't know. I haven't read any other reviews or watched any other reviews, so I don't know how upset people are about that. But to me, it didn't bother me. They've already changed the order of a bunch of stuff in the season. Like I said, during the Gardner sequence and the, you know, Kettle going to visit Canute, they changed the placement of a couple of things. I think it's fine. And actually, I think it might have even more of an impact depending on where they decide to place it. So I'm not too upset about it. But yeah, definitely missing from this episode. I can't wait for the next one. Let's see. We only have a handful of episodes left, so that is going to be sad, man. It's going to be sad to see it go. I've enjoyed my Vinland Saga Mondays. I do have Kenshin starting in July, so I'll probably be reviewing episodes of that when it comes out, but I will be missing my Mondays with Vinland. So, yeah, if you guys have seen the episode, let me know what you think about it down below, and where do you see it going if you're an anime only. Thorfinn said he's just going to go talk to Canute. So how do you see that playing out? What are your ideas of what's next? And yeah, just overall great episode, man. Great shit. So tell me what you guys think. Give the video a thumbs up and a comment if you enjoyed it. And if you want to support the channel on a deeper level, I do have a Patreon, channel memberships, merch store, all that linked down below. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time.